just awesome.
Hello, everybody. I am here in social VR platform, Facebook Spaces, with someone I'm so excited to be in with right now. She had one of the coolest experiences in the VR cinema at South by Southwest. Her name is Kiira Benzing.
Hi
Hi.
everyone. Hi Nava. Thanks for
Hey.
having me
Oh my gosh,
here.
so cool. This is Kiira, everybody. She directed an experience called Runnin, and you wrote it too, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes, an interactive script for someone to move through and get their dance on,
I
have fun in
mean,
this dancing surreal universe.
it really was. I wish I would have started every single day at South by with running because it gave me the best. I started my day so good. I just had great vibes, you know? I was just dancing in front of people I don't even know. So,
We should always start our day with a dance party, right? I think it's just as useful as a cup of coffee.
totally. Yes, I agree 100%. So tell me a little bit about your background because directing in VR is so different than directing film.
Absolutely, yes. I think when you're directing VR, you're working in a more spatial way. So you're working, always with a three-dimensional space, and you're sort of. I like to bring in game mechanics. Not that this is a gamified experience, but we're working with things that would enable. I like to think of the audience as a player in the space. They have the opportunity to play with the story, to make choices. We give them agency. So definitely working from film is a totally different medium, and then working in VR is spatial, interactive, immersive.
Absolutely. And you won an award at South by, and I think you won you won other awards too at Sundance. I've read some things about even previous projects. You've been killing it.
Yeah, I think.
Girl power.
Thanks. Yay. Yes, exactly. We definitely need to keep exploring in this space and making new discoveries. It's a totally new medium, so it's fun to be taking a deep dive into this world and trying to push these new boundaries, figure out what this storytelling language could be, and
Hmm.
it's always nice to get some recognition for those things. So yeah, I won an award with Samsung a couple years ago for a piece called Cardboard City, and that
That's
was a
right.
360 piece with stop motion animation. And then this for Runnin, we just won the best interactive in the virtual cinema at South by Southwest.
That's so cool. So I'm gonna grab the picture of me. I'm literally like, hold on, let me see where this is. It was so funny. I'm literally in the middle of this VR cinema with people waiting in line to check this out. And this is me just like I'm literally dancing my way around. And I got a video of your friend. You said that you were in the Oculus Launchpad with the first year, right?
I was the second and third year, yes.
Wow.
The last 2 years.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it in so other
Yes.
people could see. So here, this is pretty much what I look like. I just didn't get my video, um, where everybody is standing in this within this circle and the best song. I mean, you're just dancing around, you're jumping on ceiling or transporting into this like first you start off in the record store, right? Which is so cool.
Yes.
And then I was able to like dance by the DJ and I saw this video I'm gonna put in, and this was by Intel, so it kind of has the music
Mhm.
in the background, and I loved the music. The music was by Reggie Watts.
Yes, Reggie Watts and John Tejada, they formed a new duo called Wahada.
Oh, that's right.
Really playful take on their names. And they wrote this really awesome track.
So here's the avatar, right? The avatar is how did you do that? So it was with a green screen?
So the Intel Studios, you can see we have like a Meet the Artist video that we did for Sundance, and you can see a little bit of some of the imagery behind us of what that studio looks like. And there is a very large green screen in their studio, and then the dancers dance inside of this dome, and all of these cameras are
Wow.
around them, capturing them three-dimensionally.
So is that how did they create the dancers? Because when I saw when I was inside the experience, it was really
Mhm.
cool. It's like when you would touch the dancers or like move around with the dancers, it was like pixelate. They pixeled with you. It's like you could
Yeah.
feel their flow.
Yeah, exactly right. That's part of the idea is that they have energy inside of them and you have energy inside of you. And if you connect them and get close enough to them, you're able to interact with that kind of magical energy. And so the dancers have been volumetrically captured. And just like you're saying, like it's almost like they're like made of these pixels. They are made of these voxels. They're like
Wow.
three-dimensional pixels, I think of. And then we did this incredible shader work with this shader artist. His name is Sagar Patel, and he transformed our dancers and the voxels that they're made of. He can change the way that they are spaced and the colors and the shapes of them. And so we play with that throughout the piece. They just keep morphing and transforming. And then you as a player, as you get near them and you dance through them and you're interacting very close to them, you start to kind of move in this flow with the dancers and their voxels.
Yeah, it was
You
really
become a part of the
cool.
space in the painting.
And you kind of it's weird. It's not weird, but it's like it's crazy because you really do feel the vibes of like when you dance, that euphoric feeling you get after you do a workout. And I really felt that. Like, and I wasn't even really working out where I was sweating, but I was dancing a little bit, and it just as soon as I was done, I had a smile on my face for the rest of the day. And I'm sure there was a lot of people that felt that way because everything I read online, I mean, I think recently here, I actually grabbed the article so I could read it. It was Artistica, Artistic. It said, pretty much Runnin, produced by Intel, is by no means the first VR music video out there. Previous South by events have been dominated with that, but Runnin is easily my favorite of the form, primarily because it looks like a Technicolor trip through Reggie Watts' mind after a brief intro sequence inside a dimly lit record store. The video's scenery transforms and becomes a series of floating neon blocks in space, which is the voxels that you were talking about, on which various 3D characters dance around. And you actually, it's like you're dancing with them.
Exactly.
The experience really opens up once a teleport function that lets users warp onto walls and ceilings. And once this happened, every single surface in the virtual dance would explode with synchronized grooving people, which this is written so well because it's true, including one frenetic line dance sequence where over a dozen people are rendered in such a way that their not quite synchronized moves explode. It was like an exploding dance floor of fun. The director, and I thought this was really nice what he said about you. The director, which is you, the director's attention to dance-worthy detail and this delightful warp to go crazy system makes Runnin a surprising delight to interact with. I thought that was well said. Because really,
they had a good time in there.
Yeah,
I didn't get to meet them, but I'm glad that they enjoyed
I mean,
experience.
who didn't, right? Who didn't have a good experience? And then also, you also are going to be taking. Is this going to go somewhere next? Are you going somewhere else with it?
We've been invited to some other places, so definitely the piece will be making the rounds of the festival circuit.
So, what is your next?
Our next place. I can't announce just yet.
No, I mean your next project. Right. I know you
next project.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. Right. So yeah, stay tuned for Runnin. We'll keep making the rounds and
Okay, so right now I am with Kiira. We are having way too much fun right now.
Like miniature Reggie creatures.
And you're building your dance floor. So
yeah, this is how the dance floor starts and Runnin. It's this it's even a little bit more contained than this, but the floor opens and the player first they get Reggie and Reggie appears in this kind of amazing purple dome. He comes out of the ground and this lifts off and it's going to attach my creature again to him. And he appears and the dome flies away. And Reggie continues to dance. And then so I'm just going to put him here for now. And then these pink boxes highlight these 3 featured dancers, 2 of our choreographers actually, Ani Taj and Amy O'Neill, and our 3rd dancer, Sabina. And they they come up and they're dancing near the player, and Reggie's grooving, and John's been on the stage with him, and John like flies out to this other
Yeah.
far away DJ position. And then I was sort of showing like, this is so cool about what you can do in Facebook Spaces, how it's almost like instant replay, you know, and you get like you do in a sports video. And then so
yeah,
like
that's so
these
true.
platforms fly out to the corners and the entire space opens up and the stage becomes much bigger and the platforms move. And so we start to get these reveals in the space around the players so that the space keeps growing. And then what you begin to know as a dance floor, what you think is your reality, continues to change. And this dance
Yeah.
floor remains here, but then we get new dance floors, and those dance floors come up, you know, all around the player, and we get these like magical objects that look kind of like they came out of the 80s or from you know, these TV shows that we all used to watch, Saved by the Bell. We get these like
Yes.
whimsical floating objects around us.
Totally.
It's and so all of those things actually become dance floors that you can go to.
Right. I remember dancing on the ceiling. I was like dancing on this Billy Ocean.
For sure.
Right.
Exactly.
And then I was on the side. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yes, exactly.
And then I didn't know if you were supposed to like touch people that
you can.
I know I was doing that, and they just like just a burst of color just went through them.
Burst
like,
of light and energy. Yep, right. Like nothing is wrong for you to
like
do in this space. Everything is playful.
Yes. But you know, how did you come up with that?
The project evolved. So my original project was this idea that we would be transported through Reggie's music through a portal, and we'd be kind of like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. We'd be chasing after him through these different dance spaces. So the project was a little bit more linear, but still interactive, until we landed in a final room where all of the dancers came together and we had this kind of big dance party scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then from following Reggie through these portals, that got dialed down into instead of having lots of portals, it's like, well, let's just have one portal and we'll put that in a record store. I knew Reggie was a big fan of nostalgic spaces, the 1980s, 1990s, and one of the Blockbusters had just closed, one of the last Blockbusters in the US. And so I told him this story, and I said, what if we designed this record space? Like, what if the entire experience starts in this record store, and you, because you love the 80s, will go back in time to this place that feels really familiar, and then that becomes the portal, and I'll take us into this dance scene where the world can.
Real record store that we're hanging out in, and I think that's exactly where Runnin began.
Yes, good memory.
Yes.
It stayed with you, that moment, the very first scene.
So tell me a little bit about that scene. You know, you touched on it before.
So that scene came up. I knew that Reggie had a great fondness for the 80s and the 90s. That was a big influence for this album that he and John Tejada did, this duo that they formed, Wahada, which we made a little custom album, Wahada. And in fact, they even put this album out. This album is called Casual High Technology. They actually released it on vinyl. So I mean, there's a big nostalgia there for these really special places. And so I designed the opening of the experience to start in a record store, and Reggie really loved that idea. And that was to give the player a sense of nostalgia, a place that would feel familiar, the kind of place that you're not really sure how they pay their rent every month, and hopefully they stick around because you've got great memories from going there.
Aww.
Probably your parents went there. And the guys did a really great job building out that space.
Yeah, I mean, I remember touching it, and then there was like the little table, and then that's when I went into the voxel.
You brought Reggie to life. Yes.
Reggie. I love it.
That's exactly right. Reggie, he morphs out of the space. I won't say exactly how, but he's definitely tied into that record store experience.
Woo! Yeah, no, that was really cool. See, I love this little Reggie that we put together. Yeah, actually, the Wahada, The album, I saw that I think they were on the Tonight Show, or was it the Tonight Show where
That is a
they
they
did
have
their
definitely made some public appearances. I think it was Conan.
Yes, that's where it was that I saw it. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah, they are great to watch live.
yeah, for sure. But, National Record Store Day reminds me of, like, did you see the movie with Liv Tyler? And was it Empire Records?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'm like sitting in here and I feel like, this is almost like that feel.
The
Wish I
days of spending time in Tower Records and
mm,
sorting through bins of, I don't know if you remember, like I would put little headphones on and listen to everything. I mean, that's when we started to step into a more digital landscape and we had CDs. But I loved going through records. I mean,
mhm.
record art. Even you're seeing pop iconography. Like there's a lot of artwork that goes into the covers of these vinyls. They're
Yeah,
really beautiful.
good point.
Yeah, I've worked with Ani Taj on some 360 video projects before, but I really wanted to work with her in a more interactive way in VR.
Hmm.
And she is a dancer and choreographer. She does both. And she works spatially really well. So I'd wanted to see her work translate into VR
Hmm.
because I felt like she would just understand it really quickly. And that that was just an incredible collaboration. And she is also a mutual colleague of Reggie's. And then Reggie also has been working with Amy O'Neill for many years. So we
Mm.
brought both choreographers on together and they work together. They have different styles, but they blended in this incredible, burst of high energy dance, freestyle movement, and this kind of blend of both of their skill sets came together. And then they put those moves and those styles on the dancers.
Wow. What is it like to direct that? I mean, that's gotta
I'm
be,
gonna like move our
yeah,
world a little bit here.
100%.
um, what is it like to direct that? So we did some rehearsals
Hmm.
and we created these loops for the dancers because I wasn't quite sure how many takes we would get throughout the day. And the way that you're working with this technology is you're kind of shooting in these bursts,
Hmm.
which Ani's choreography and Amy's work, like they both fit really well into that kind of format. So we did some rehearsals with the dancers and we practiced some specifically choreographed loops for them, and then we also made sure that we did these some time for freestyle movement, which could be more improvised, but again everything had to start and stop on loops.
Wow. I mean, that would be so hard for me. I don't know if I could ever do that. That's a tough job to be. There's so many components when there's dance. There was a girl I was telling you about in Alt Space. She created a game or is choreographing Rave Runner, and they talk about the flow state and like different kinds of emotions you're trying to evoke, like kind of what you were saying.
Mm.
So to have to direct that, and you're doing it in bursts and you're doing it in a dome where you can't really see the whole picture, right? Because it's that green screen that you had.
You're using your imagination a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing about being able to film in such a large space like we had at the stage at Intel Studios is that we could have all of the dancers dance together in this space. So that's pretty rare when you're doing volumetric capture. And
Mm-hmm.
we had a cast of 12 dancers and then Reggie. So we've got 13 people dancing in this space together. But what you're able to do then is I could go in and give them some direction and remind them about the kind of world that I'm envisioning that they're going to be appearing in,
Mm.
and talk to them about what the space feels like and remember that there's a player inside. They should always be creating this kind of energy, looking outwards to welcome the player that's coming into the space, so that once the player is inserted in this incredible 360-degree volumetric three-dimensional world, everywhere they look, they feel welcomed by these dancers around them. So that was their, continuous motivation and direction. And then I was trying to paint the picture for them in bits and spurts about how some of these sequences were going to fit into this 3D universe. Of course, when you're filming out of order.
Right.
So we would shoot different scenes at different times, and just kind of keeping them mentally in check and remembering how I was going to put these pieces together once we got it into the development process with all of the engineers.
Wow. So you went into the Oculus Launchpad, you mentioned 2 times, right?
Yeah, that's right. Oculus, two consecutive years.
Do you feel like there's some things that you learned there that helped you?
I think the biggest part about Oculus and what they're creating is the sense of community. So you get to meet other creators that are
Mm,
working in this space, that are trying different tools, that are, trying to innovate, trying to experiment. You're also meeting people that are, we don't always have the same level of resources as some
mhm.
people that that are working at other companies. So to be able to be an independent creator in the space, as you're growing your own studio, you're meeting peers that are doing, going through the same struggles as you are, trying to take the same kinds of risks, trying to use the medium for a place of a new type of storytelling. I think, a storytelling that we haven't seen in cinema or in games. VR is such a different, uh, incredible, open space where you can try out your wildest dreams. I mean, this whole universe, really came to me in a dream. It started with aspects of mechanics that I wanted to play with, and then connecting these dots, and how, I wrote 3 versions of this script, and like that final version, tying all these pieces together, really came from a dream.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like just thinking about this dance floor, what a cool dream, by the way. I want to have dreams like this. So was Sundance the first time you showed Runnin'?
Yes. Sundance was our world premiere.
Oh, okay. So what kind of feedback did you get?
The best kind of feedback. I mean, we finally had a chance to put this world on someone's head, take them inside this tiny universe, take them down this sort of nostalgic memory lane trip through the record store, and then to this incredible, surreal dance scene where they could feel free to let loose and explore and feel the rhythm of the Wahada music. That was a total dream, to be able to do that, to share with people at such a prestigious festival. That was really special.
And it was so well taken. And then going to South by to, be awarded for it. Because working as an independent must be really hard.
Definitely, when you're working, I mean, you're always working with a collaborative team. I think you can't work in VR unless you're working with other collaborators. There's just so many skill sets that are necessary
Hmm.
to build these kinds of worlds, to build the interactivity that I wanted to see. So certainly it takes much more than just one person tinkering in a toolbox, but
Right.
to be able to take it off of the desktop and get it into an installation space where people could then feel comfortable to dance and move and let themselves dive deep into their own psyche and imagination. That's what we live for, is to take those
Totally.
experiences and connect them to people. And that's something that we were able to do with Sundance. So, I dreamed for many months of seeing myself put a headset on someone and then them taking it off and just smiling. And that was the best
Oh, that's awesome.
experience that we could have. We had that at Sundance, and then again at South by, and you too coming
I
through
was
the
just gonna say,
experience.
I was smiling after. Everyone who I watched was laughing or smiling during and after because you didn't know what to expect, And,
Exactly.
how did you choose the logo or the colors? Because they're happy colors.
They're very happy colors. Yeah, I wanted it to live in a warm color palette. That's something that we were trying to figure out with, capturing these volumetric assets, what's going to shoot well against a green screen,
Mm,
and then also how is this going to work when we're inside this universe and we're playing with these shaders and lighting. There's a lot of different questions to have. So the tendency, I think, is to lean dark, but I knew that I wanted the experience to feel really warm and let the player feel welcome. And Reggie was totally into that. He was also about this warmer color palette. So I sent him a bunch of color palettes to take a look at, and we landed on both of our favorite was this, really like in this kind of magenta hot pink landscape. And then that's the world that we were able to build with our concept artist Robbie Tilton.
I love every single color in there. I think I use it with everything I do. So what did it feel like when you finally put the headset on someone the first time and then they did smile after? What was that feeling like?
It starts with, I think, the same kind of energy as when you're like getting on a stage to give a musical performance, and you're rehearsing for so long, or for a dancer, you're practicing these movements, or an actor, you're rehearsing your lines, and you hope the audience is going to feel moved by that, but you just don't know. So, we would put the headset on, and I would just stand there in the corner, hoping that I'm not interacting with the base stations around and canceling any of the light waves that are being sent to each other. I'm just sort of like, trying to be as tiny as I can in the space, and see, first where, and this is a similar thing that I watch in playtesting. How are they exploring the space? Where is their attention going? Are they feeling like they want to interact with things? How do we get them to actually move? Movement in VR is a really tricky thing to do. And sometimes people prefer to just teleport to the music in rhythm and explore the space that way. And that's totally fine. I think that that's a really valid, exciting experience to have, because you get to jump and change perspective. You get to go in these places that you can't do in the real world.
Yeah.
So that was just as exciting for me to see that. And then if people wanted to get their bodies into it and really move and feel the space and interact with the dancers, that is like another level. And I feel like when I got to watch people doing that and engaging with the piece and these ways, from teleporting to interacting with the dancers and their voxels to then fully engaging their bodies to the music in the space, I was like, wow, okay, that was the best award that you could possibly have, because you're giving someone the experience that you've dreamed of giving them.
Wow. Literally dreamed of.
Literally.
Record store, because this is where the experience in Runnin begins, really, right?
That's right.
So where's Reggie? Here's Reggie. That's where his so there's been a lot of dance videos out there that I've been looking at, dance VR games, or not games, but dance VR experiences that are going to be coming to Oculus, and I'm sure Vive. And I keep looking at these little dots and all of these things like they're pixels, just like what we're used to. But what are they really? Because you talked a little bit about voxels. So can you explain the difference in what they are?
Absolutely, that's right. So we've come from a long way of history and evolution of style, and pixels are still really special and a very cool art form in their own way. The capture that we used at Intel Studios, we say, hi Pixels, shout out for Pixels. They're not going away. They're still super special. Pixels, yes. Pixel dance. But at Intel Studios, we're using this very unique capture system and also their unique software system, and that is generating these three-dimensional voxels. So shout out for voxels now, some voxel love. And our dancers and Reggie and John Tejada, all of this cast is created, they are generated in these voxels. That's what the volumetric capture produces.
So if you could see the little squares over there. Okay, I just wanted to give a picture for everybody.
That's right.
So, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Minecraft. Or actually, that
Sure.
Was it Cubert that we used to have to jump? Was that an 80s game? I don't even remember. Maybe not.
I don't know that one.
Okay.
But definitely what's really unique about getting a capture that produces a form that is moving and made of these voxels is that we have this incredibly abstract form that we then get to play with. I mean, these are three-dimensional pixels in a way. We could look at voxels as that. We could think about them as cubes. We can also, there's incredible work that our shader artists were able to do. They could change the shape of these and morph with them. And then the player inside the experience, the player then gets to interact with these voxels as well.
Wow.
So if they get near them, we've made their glow sticks, these kind of like magical wands. And as they get close to the voxel-based dancers, they're able to push their wands into them, and all of these voxels spread and move around and react to the movement of the player. Get ready to dance. And for next, my VR work in the future, right now I'm working with a team in New York called Alive in Plastic Land. We are building or creating and training a troupe of improv actors to do improv comedy in social VR. So the idea is that an audience can attend virtually, an audience can attend, therefore, through their computers at home, but we can also merge that with a real world experience and bring a real world live audience. So we're kind of looking for ways to bridge those audiences and then create these, we put our actors into avatars, and they're in these different types of motion capture tracking, and they're embodying these avatars, and they're doing these, they've got magic abilities, because in VR we have the opportunity to play with so many other things. We can really defy the rules of physics that we can't do in the real world. So it gives us like a whole other plethora of magical options.
Ooh, that sounds like something I definitely want to check out when it comes out. What is it planning to come out?
We should have some performances, it looks like, coming up in April. So we head back into rehearsals next week. We're working with some new actors, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, just stay tuned with Alive in Plastic Land. That's that group. And I can send you a video of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining. And keep us posted. Come back, and we will see you later. Thanks again.
Awesome.